What is up, guys? Welcome to this free tutorial video around a topic that I know speaks to a lot of you, and that is being able to actually stay consistent when you are trying to create and attain your dream body. So I wanted to create this to look a little bit deeper into why you might find yourself consistently falling off track. We're not going to go into some of the things that I guess you may think that we're going to go into, right? There's a lot of things that people will put on social media and Instagram as to why you may be, failing and things aren't going very well. But quite often they are very surface level problems that are simply symptoms of a deeper issue. And for those of you guys that maybe don't know me or don't know what I do just yet, or you might be new to my page, I work with people to create their dream bodies and to create endless amounts of genuine self-love in the process. But I do so in a very different way than your typical, coach that looks to get people physical results. We go into a lot greater depth and we do things from a far more sustainable place. We incorporate a ton of mindset work, inner world work, and creating a whole new person, a whole new version of you in the process, right? So yeah, that's I guess what I do in a nutshell, and I'm sure you guys will get the gist of just the depth we go into during this tutorial video. So let's kick this off with, if we're gonna, yeah, there we go. Okay, so before we get into where I see the main problems, arise with clients and things I see on social media about people being able to actually stay on track, we first need to understand what the process is, in my opinion, of actually creating a dream body, being able to maintain it, and building that, that self-love and that feeling about ourselves, in the process. So there are three main phases that I take people through and that I base my offering, which is Origin, around. So first we need to actually set the foundation, then we go and create the body, and then we have what we call an exit and recalibration phase. So in this video, we're going to be heavily looking at the foundation aspect, because the other two are very much, they're all individual, right? But the other two are very much individual and are going to be very much based on where you're at, what your actual outcomes are, and they need to be a little more individual. So we're not going to touch on those a whole lot. I will explain them, but we're really going to focus on the setting the foundation, because what I see happen is I see people jump into fitness journey after fitness journey, weight loss after weight loss, muscle gain after muscle gain phases, but always end up falling off track, always end up back in the same position. Or you get results, but then you just find yourself 2 months later being back to where you were. And it's not because you're incapable of keeping the result. It's not because you don't deserve it, but it is because you didn't have the foundation that allowed you to either create the result or create the result and keep it, or do it in a way that is actually sustainable and allows you to feel good and actually feel really proud in what you've done. A lot of the times we'll see people change their bodies, but quite often, you can't even see the results, or they don't actually make you feel any better. You just maybe weigh a little less, or you look a little bit better, but inside you're still not actually happy. And a lot of that has to do with the foundation and what I call sort of the build up to actually creating the body. And that's why I spend a lot of time with people on creating this foundation before we actually dive into the nitty gritty, the training, the nutrition, because I want you guys to start, and the people I work with to start in the best possible position before we get there. So then it's just a matter of, cool, now you just need to go and execute this for however long, 12, 16, 20 weeks, be consistent with it, be adherent to it, and be patient to it, and the results will come. And then we're less likely to have the setbacks, or we have the setbacks, but they understand how to get themselves back on track, which is what we're sort of going into today. So the actual foundation phase is, there is just so much that goes into it. There are so many different moving parts, and so much of it is around having you start to live as the person that already has the physical results, that already has the dream body, that already has the amount of self-love that you desire, before you actually tangibly have those things. Right, that may sound a little bit interesting, but that's just the way we need to do it. It's like there's a reason you don't have the body and the self-love as the version of yourself that's showing up right now, right? So we need to actually shift who you are first. We need you to step into a new identity that actually allows for the creation of these things that you haven't had, right? Otherwise, what's the point of trying to achieve something you've never had from a version of yourself that has never got it, right? It doesn't start to add up. And that's where we see people able to actually get the results. So it's not really a matter of can you get the results, it's can you get them and maintain them, or can you get them, maintain them, and actually genuinely feel good in them. So we need to actually shift who you are as the person and the individual first, so we can have the rest. All right, so that's setting the foundation in a nutshell. And yeah, once we do that, then we get to the creating the body, which is cool. Now we implement the training program that you need based on your lifestyle, how many days per week, We implement the nutrition, calories, macros, a strategy to get you whatever physical result you're after. And then also the exit and recalibration phase. So that's like, cool, we've got the result. What do we need to do to solidify it? Whether it is work out to do with your calories or your training or your cardio to get you back to kind of your new baseline. And then also set some future outcomes and make sure that everything we've done is make sure everything you've done is actually being seen by yourself, and you're actually understanding the magnitude of what's changed with your physical body, but also everything else as a whole, right? So there's a lot of reflection. There are a lot of things around feeling pride that we do in that recalibration phase to allow you to be like, yeah, this is my new normal, and there is no way I'm ever going back to how I used to be. Now I'm just hungry to continue moving forward and continue bettering myself. All right, so excuse me, as I said, those last two phases are more phases we do specifically in Origin and based on each individual. But as I said, we're going to really focus in on the foundation that is needed to get the results. And I'm not talking directly about falling off track just yet, because it's like when we have this, your tendency to fall off track just disappears, right? Because the way you see things is just in such a different light that it's like, if I fall off, and the analogy that I use is train track versus a tightrope, right? If you're on this tightrope and everything has to always be perfect, every little step has to be perfect, we can't focus on anything else. We can't look down. We can't have a slight gust of wind because it will push us off track, because we need to be perfect. If we have that, we're going to fall off all the fucking time, and we're going to have to start all over again, right? Whereas with the train track, it's like we're walking along this train track, which is our journey. It's almost like the road in the back of this photo here. We're walking along this train track, and if we fall off track, if we overeat one night, or we have a social event, or maybe we get sick and we can't train for a week, we can just jump back on exactly where we were, because we've fallen this far and we can continue going, right? Versus the tightrope, which is like, fuck, everything's fucked, I failed, I've got to start again. Okay, so that is the overarching theme of what we're trying to do here. And the way we are able, let me try that again. The way we are able to create that for ourselves is done in this foundation phase. That's the version of ourselves that we are bringing out and we are living as, to then allow us to actually get the body. So the four main pieces of the foundation here, and again, this is very, very simplistic. And of course, in each one of these, we go into endless amounts of detail at Origin, because it's done through videos like this. It's done through a couple of in-person calls, and then it's mostly done at the 5-day in-person summit, which is all based around the foundation. But being the person, so I mentioned this before, if you're to have a result you've never gotten, and if you're to truly step into your dream body and have the amount of self-love that you want and live the dream life and everything that involves, you need to be that person and start living as that person right now. So you need to get clear on what belief systems they have. You need to get clear as who they show up as. You need to be clear on what that body looks like, what it can do for you, what your nutrition and your health and your nourishment looks like, what your ability to communicate and connect is like, what your job, your career is like, what your environment is like, all these other things that make up your reality and your world. You need to start living as that person right now. Because if you start living as that person, that means you are creating as that person. And if you're creating as that person, well, this is the person that already has the body, that has the relationships, that has the self-love, that has the job, the career, the lifestyle, right? So we do a lot of work on actually getting you to become the person. So what you guys can do straight away is literally just think, cool, what is my dream body? And when I say dream body, that very rarely means that it is your absolute physical peak. So it's rarely going to be the leanest you could possibly be, the biggest you could possibly be, the the most aesthetic version of you that you can possibly be. For the people I work with, and chances are you guys watching this, that's not really what you're after, because to reach your true physical peak, you're going to need to sacrifice a lot of your life and a lot of your lifestyle to do that. And the people I work with just usually don't want that. It's not saying that's wrong, but it's like, yeah, I just dare say that you guys watching this, that's not what you're after. Chances are your dream body is a body that you feel happy in, you feel confident in, a body that can perform for you. So you can run, you can jump, you can lift. You've got nicely defined muscles. You've got maybe if you're a female, maybe you've got a big bum and nice shoulders. If you're a guy, maybe you've got a nice big back and some nice arms. But a body that just makes you feel good within yourself. And the key thing is a body that doesn't limit you, doesn't restrict you from doing things and living life and being you, right? So we need to get very, very clear on what that actually looks like, and then how that dream body allows you to live your ideal life, your dream life, right? So if you picture yourself living this absolute dream life with the body, with the relationships, with the friends, with the job, with the travel, with the whatever else, what kind of body do you need to be able to live that way? What kind of body do you need to be able to live to however old you want to live? What kind of body do you need that's going to allow you to make the world a better place, to be, a great partner or husband or wife or dad or mum or family member or friend, right? Start to connect these dots, right? Because everything is intertwined. Your body is going to allow you to go out and make the world a better place and make your life a better place, right? So we do a lot of work on connecting to that. So then you can show up every day as that person, and you have something kind of anchoring you to where you're going, right? You're not just floating around wondering what to do, because you can check in and ask yourself, okay, cool, right now in this situation, what would that version of me that I'm working towards do? And then you can do that, right? That's how you start to become that person, right? So being the person is first and foremost the biggest key to creating this dream body, right? Once you have that, we always want to focus on winning the day, right? Winning the day doesn't mean you have to do the most stuff or you have to push yourself every single day. Winning the day means winning that day based on what's happening, based on how you're feeling and what needs to get done, right? Because we win the day every single day, that is going to accumulate into the body, the self-love, everything else we want, right? So making sure you're winning the day. And sometimes that might literally mean you need to rest all day because you're run down, you've had a big week, you're stressed, maybe you're getting sick. So maybe for you, winning that day would be to rest and recover. But other days, you might want to get up early and go for a run, and then you might want to hit the gym later. You might want to do some meditating. You might want to do some, connecting with your family or whatever. But set yourself some tasks to win every single day. And then the integrity check is then basically having the ability to have the tough conversation with yourself at the end of each day to be like, okay, did I actually do everything I needed to do today to win the day? And did I show up as the person, as the dream body person, as the dream life person, right? And that's that integrity check to check in with yourself to be like, okay, did I do everything I needed to do to push me further forward? Am I closer now than I was this morning, right? It's your ability to have these conversations with yourself to know if you've won the day, if you're being the person that is going to allow you to move forward, right? Because as soon as you find yourself kind of lying to yourself and like maybe you didn't go to the gym just because you were tired and you're lazy, and if you like give yourself a way out, then that's not really helping you, and that's not actually being the person, right? So now we've got a few things that are out of whack, and now we're going to find it's going to be a lot easier to fall off track and not get anywhere. So making sure you're checking in and you're doing that integrity check. And then the last piece, 3 very basic words, very easy to understand. But once you have all that stuff, am I doing it consistently? Am I being adherent to everything I need to do? So this also relates to like your training, your program, your nutrition, your steps, your cardio, all these kind of things. And am I deploying patience? Okay, that's one big thing that's come up with a couple of clients recently is their foundation is pretty fucking dialed. Their nutrition, their training, and all of that is also pretty fucking dialed. Like it's taken some time to get there, but now they're doing everything they need to do and they're being the person, But they're having some challenges around that last one. They're having some challenges around actually being patient, right? Because a lot of this foundational stuff can be done and created pretty quickly, and you can start to see the results of it pretty quickly, like to be honest. So then when it comes to actually getting the physical result, it's like, well, your body takes time to develop. It takes time to lose weight. It takes time to add muscle, especially to get stronger, right? It's not an overnight thing. That's what I really try to drill into these guys is we do a lot of stuff that produce really quick, immediate change, and that you can feel that change pretty damn quickly. But when it comes to the actual dream body creation, that needs patience. So you need to ask yourself, am I just being impatient? Which means if I'm being impatient, I'm probably going to find reasons as to why I'm not progressing how I expect to. Again, expectations and where you're setting that bar, different conversation. Could do a whole new video on that. But am I actually being patient and trusting the process and doing what I need to do and doing the integrity check, making sure I'm continuing to be the person, win the day, calibrating, calories where I need to and making little changes to make sure I'm continuing to move forward. Patience is such a big thing, and is something people forget, especially in this day and age when we just want everything now. So when it comes to your actual body and creating the dream body, there just needs to be a level of patience that you have. Like when you see something's working and you recognize that you are getting better, keep doing it, right? Sometimes you don't need more advice or more guidance. You just need to be patient, you need to be consistent, and you need to continue to be adherent. All right, so that's kind of the last piece. But yeah, overall, that's the foundation in a very, very quick summary. As I said, there are so many moving parts. There are, a ton more categories, but these 4 for you guys watching this, for you to get something out of it, they're the 4 things you can start to look at right this very second and just question yourself on and see where you're at. Okay, so then we get to the overall picture. And this is something that I've only recently created, and it's come about through putting together what I see happening, what I'm hearing from my clients, their struggles, and also combining, the foundation, the importance of it, and then what will often pop up, especially around the patient stuff and the body creation that I mentioned. Okay, so starting from the top here, we have our foundation. So being the person, winning the day, doing that integrity check, and being consistent, adherent, and patient, right? We know if we do all these things, we are going to get multiple wins. So we're going to get lots of different wins in all kinds of areas of our lives. And that's the beauty of the work we do, especially within Origin, is that, it's focused around your dream body creation and the self-love. But how this ripples into other areas of your life is profound. And it's not something we can really talk about because it's so dependent on each person. But we've had people quit jobs they didn't like to then get amazing opportunities in something that they absolutely love. We've had people leave shitty relationships and attract in beautiful new partners. We've had travel opportunities present. We've had, financial opportunities present, the ability to make more money. We've had connections. We've had, people complimenting them left, right, and center. All these incredible other things that have come as a result of doing all this work, right? So we get multiple wins when we start showing up like this. We get noticeable growth, so much the same things. We start to create new belief systems, new thoughts, new actions, new feelings, right? So we start to rewire our brain and we start to create our new state of being, right? Our state of being basically made up of our thoughts and our subsequent feelings, which then produce actions. And as I said before, previously, if you haven't been able to create that dream body, or maybe that's where you are now, chances are the state of being you're in, i.e. the thoughts you have, the feelings you feel, and therefore the actions you take aren't those of someone that is able to actually create the body, which is why you haven't got it. So the more we do that, the more we implement and live the foundation, we're going to create new beliefs, new thoughts, new actions, which have a massive, which dictate how we actually see our reality, right? Which is, again, a whole different video on how we actually see our reality, but they are big pieces of it. We get an altered life outlook. So now things just start shining brighter, like colors are more vibrant, right? We start hearing more beautiful things. We start interacting with more people. The way we see our life as a whole starts to drastically change because we're showing up as a new person. So we're going to be seeing different things. And then we create feelings and emotions such as pride, self-love, and gratitude, right? So very love-based emotions as opposed to fear-based. Now, this is all fantastic, right? And chances are you guys have probably gotten to this phase before, right? Maybe not in, maybe you haven't had the depth of foundation I've just spoken about, but chances are if you're watching this, you've been through a journey and you've created some form of shift, be it weight loss, maybe you're just looking better, maybe, you're noticing some wins, right? And then the inevitable roadblock happens, right? This is meant to be a wall down here. The inevitable roadblock happens, which in this instance, the example I'm using is around your body not maybe not changing as much as you think it needs to. Whereas the scale doesn't shift or it goes up. Maybe your photos look similar. Maybe clothing feels tight, or maybe you start feeling a level of judgment and comparison, right? And you can insert anything into there. Maybe something happens unfortunate in your family. Maybe some shit happens at work and life gets really stressful. Whatever it is, there is always a roadblock. There is always going to be a roadblock. It doesn't matter how much of this work you do. There is going to be a roadblock, right? It wouldn't be a journey worthwhile if there wasn't. Okay, so we're doing the foundation. We're seeing great results, but for some reason something's come up or something's not changing, right? As I said, this instance I'm using the physical body, and this could be for a number of different reasons, right? What can happen when we have this roadblock is we get two options as to how we are going to move through it. Most people, and getting back to the title of this video, why people fall off track, is because they will fall down this right hand side. They will fall down the ego path, which is, cool, here's a roadblock, and this is what I'm used to doing when I have a roadblock, or when I have a setback, or when something comes up that jeopardizes my ability to move forward. Right now, the tightrope is very, very, very wobbly, and I'm probably going to fall off if I go down this path. In fact, I am going to fall off if I go down this path, because your ego likes to keep you exactly where you are. So as soon as it feels a roadblock pop up, it's like, this is my opportunity to fill this person's head with all these worst case scenarios and get them to stop this journey, so we get to go back to how we were, so we get to be comfortable, so we get to be safe in this old identity, right? That's what your ego is trying to do. If you succumb to the ego, you're going to fall into this category. You're going to go back to the old you, which is that version of you that isn't able to create your dream body. You're going to have bad days, which are going to turn into multiple days, multiple weeks, months, because having a bad day is fine. That is going to happen no matter what, but letting it turn into multiple is not obviously what we want. You're then going to have emotions out of negativity, anger, resentment, those types of things. And then it's like, well, good luck being consistent, adherent, and patient with your training and nutrition. If you're back to old you're back to your old thoughts, you're feeling like shit, there's no way you're going to want to stick to your calories, you're going to want to stick to your food, or anything like that. Okay? Ego is winning, and the result of that is now, because this is essentially your foundation, right, from up here, this is essentially your new foundation. From that new foundation, you create this. Your body stays the same or potentially gets worse. You start to label things like failure, right? I've fallen off the tightrope again. Now I'm back to the start again. We create this victim mentality. Why do I bother? I'm not deserving of this, right? It's not possible for me to change. Victim, 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 victim. i.e. not actually helping you solve the problem. And then, as I said, things like, what's the point? And where to now? And then that's where most people get to. It's like, well, where to now? What do I do? I'm too scared to start again because I know what happened. This is what they say. I know what happens when I try this. I always fall off here. This happens, this happens, this happens. Right? They're literally predicting exactly what's going to happen, and they're going to fulfill that. That's how we work, right? And then it's like, well, where to now? Okay, we're just going to sit there and never try again, but you're going to live in this body that you hate, live in, have an inner world that is just an absolute mess, feel really bad about yourself, and not improve your life for the rest of your life. That's what you're choosing to do. Okay, gotcha, right? But maybe even if they do start again eventually, they're going to fall back down the same path, because chances are they're going to try the exact same thing again, and they're going to have the exact same thing come up, except this time they've got one more piece of evidence, one more journey that they've gone through that's resulted in this place where they don't want to be. And it's just adding evidence to the fact that they're not capable. Okay? And that's why people fall off, right? Because they fall down this path, and now they're creating from this old version of them that never had the body in the first place. So of course they're going to create the same thing. Whereas your other option, and the one that most people can't see and are blind to until it's pointed out fucking directly to them, and again, this is what we do, this is what I aim to do with my clients, is when we have this inevitable roadblock, cool, we actually address the roadblock. We're like, cool, why could this possibly be happening? We do a check-in up here at the foundation. Are you doing this? Yep, cool, this, cool. Do we need to change training, nutrition, whatever it is. We get to the actual problem, right? Again, very individual. But then we get them to, okay, this is your roadblock. You're going to get through it. But to get through it, you need to remember. You need to remember the foundation that is actually creating the results you're after, right? And I'm very big in this moment on actually going back and reflecting on all the wins they've had, all the improvements they've made, all the things that have changed that maybe they haven't seen or they've let slip because they've been living too much in their ego, which has basically been blocking them from seeing all these amazing wins. As soon as they start to remember, oh yeah, I'm feeling better in my clothes. I'm more confident when I go out. My movement feeling better in the gym. I'm lifting pain free. I'm doing this and this and this. Cool. There's 7 wins that they're seeing that they're doing. Like, oh, maybe I'm actually not, failing as much as I think I am. Yeah, cool. Now I feel a lot better. Now I get to go back and start living with this foundation again. They're going to start being the person again. They're going to get back to winning the day. They're going to get good at their integrity check, and then they're going to get back to consistency, adherence, patience. Combine that with the tweaks we've made around the roadblock. So maybe their calories need to come down. Maybe they needed some more cardio, or maybe there was something else going on that was, getting in their head, something someone said or they saw or whatever it might be. But we do those 4 things. We make the tweak we need to tweak that's caused the roadblock. And then we get back to this, which is the same as above. Multiple wins, noticeable growth, getting back to creating the new beliefs, thoughts, actions, back to that altered life outlook in a really positive way, and creating these emotions out of love again instead of out of fear, right? And then we get back and then we keep going, and we be adherent, we be consistent, and we be patient to it. All right, guys. So that is it in a nutshell. And again, if we go back to the actual question here, so why people consistently fall off track during the dream body journey, pretty much always going to relate back to the foundation. Very, very rarely is it actually a calorie problem, a training problem. It's very rarely that. It's usually because something little's come up, or even something big, and they've chosen the ego route, the red route here, as opposed to remembering how well they were doing, and remembering that it's like, well, why would I go down the right hand thing and get to that point where it's like, where to now? What's the point? Like, I want this dream body, I genuinely do want it. I want to feel all these amazing things. I want the outcomes I've set. So literally, what is the point of staying on the right hand side? Why would I not just get back on track and go again? Right. And this isn't to be like a sales pitch or anything like that. But again, I just really want to highlight, because if you've made it this far, chances are this is probably speaking to you a little bit. But this is why Origin is the way it is, because I purposely delay giving people a program and calories for the first 4.5 to 5 weeks until we have laid this foundation, and until they are aware of all of this stuff and more, and until they can demonstrate that they are the fucking person that is hungry, is dedicated, is driven, and is also showing up as the person. Like, they've raised their standards. So now it's like, cool, we just need to plug in some training, some nutrition, and I have no doubt these guys will do it. And then we get to the creation phase, and then we can get to the sustainability and all that again, which I said is a different thing. And that is exactly why, Origin is just so well set up and so structured to help you guys that struggle with being consistent to actually be able to have this body, create the body, the self-love, all these other amazing things. All right, guys. So I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate if you've made it to the end. As always, I always, love to hear from you guys and just know what landed with you, or if, there was parts of this you didn't quite understand, or whatever it might be. I'd always love to hear from you. So DM me and let's have a chat. Appreciate you guys very much, and I'll see you in the next video.